Straight off the rip, some people may think that this video contradicts my last video. Look, I don't think so, but we can argue about that in the conversation if need be. But anyway, man, back to the... Bro, what is this man doing? Oh, didn't even know I was recording. Look, you know how times are. I gotta get my work in whenever I can, but let me go ahead and put that down. I'm supposed to be making a video, right? That's right. What up? What's good? Or whatever. It's the Frozen One, or Froze for short. And today we're going to be talking about why Sony releasing their games on PC isn't that big of an issue, right? Now, the claim is that if Sony releases all of their games on PC, well, then the revenue generated of forcing people to buy a PlayStation in order to play their games is now going to be lessened. Instead of having people get a PlayStation and God of War, they can just get God of War on things like Steam, right? Well, I'm going to elaborate more on how, even though that may be the case, it may not be as big of an issue as people are blowing it out to be, right? And I'm going to start it off by talking about the main benefit of why Sony will probably be doing this. So, the main benefit of this is take a PC gamer, right? The PC gamer, you know, they're probably playing games on PC because they enjoy the options that PC has, right? And they're able to change the frame rate to be whatever they want it to be. They're able to change the graphics to look the way they want it to be. They're able to modify things like motion blur and, you know, film grain and whatnot. Though games are coming out that allow you to do this in their games as well on console, most PC games allow you to do that by default, right? They allow you to do that by default. And that's why PC, I'm not saying that's the only reason, but that's probably some of the main reasons why PC gamers game on PC. They have much more versatility in the way they want to play their games, right? But that doesn't mean they don't enjoy games like God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn, right? They see these games like, oh, those games look really nice, and I really want to play these games. But then they realize that, they're only exclusive to PlayStation, and I don't have a PlayStation at the moment. So I have to spend $300 to $400 in order to play this game. Don't think that's worth it. Why? Because that $300, $400 can go to upgrade on my processor. Let's say I have an i5, right? I want to get an i9. Let's say I want to upgrade my GPU. Now, granted, if you're already gaming at like 1440p, 120 frames per second, or even higher than that, obviously, I don't know what $300, $400 is going to do for you in terms of a GPU. You're probably already gaming on a 2070, 2080 Ti, so it's not going to do much for you. But regardless, you can use that $300 to $400 to upgrade something in your PC. And I feel that's where a lot of people's minds are at when it comes to PC gamers. And I feel like that's where Sony is tapping into, where they're like, well, these PC gamers aren't going to buy this console in general. Plus, this game is like 4 years old. If they were going to buy the console, they would have done it already. Since they're not doing it, let's put it on PC to see where PC's interest level is for this game. Maybe we'll derive some more revenue from those gamers, even though this game is old. It's just, it's a good little, project, I guess if you want to say, I don't know, in order to see if they can get any more money out of this game. And I think they could, because the game is a really good game. Now, certain people, right, they have a drawback of this. They have a drawback to this. They have an issue with it. And these people are basically like, well, if Sony were to do this with all their games, then eventually the revenue that was being derived from forcing people to get a PlayStation first is not going to be significantly lessened. And that could in turn make them not have enough money to fund into these games that are really great. And it would make their sequels to these great games very bad, because it doesn't have as much money behind it. Well, though that is, a valid concern, it's not necessarily backed by anything, because granted, this is only one exclusive, right? This is only Horizon Zero Dawn this is happening to. Mind you, this wasn't even guaranteed when it first came out. It was just a rumor. We were hearing things like it was going to PlayStation Now and it was going to be it. But then as of recently, we're seeing that it's coming to PC natively. So it's not even it wasn't even guaranteed for this off rip, right? It just wasn't guaranteed. So in the event that this was to happen, for any other exclusive, if it follows the same steps, I don't see how it's an issue, because you're talking about 4+ year old games coming to PC at a later date, when everybody's already played it and beat it years prior to. So it's just a way for them to derive more revenue from an area that they probably weren't getting a much revenue from the get-go. You get what I'm saying? Old games that people aren't playing anymore, they're trying to get more revenue off of old games. They're just trying to milk it, right? That's what they're trying to do. So that's my rebuttal to it. It's like, even if this was going to happen to all of their exclusives, which is not guaranteed, I feel like if it follows the same steps, it wouldn't be that big of an issue, because they're still getting money that they wouldn't have gotten from the get-go. That's my take on it. But some of these people, right, that think this way, they say, well, if they didn't shell out the $300, $400 for this game initially, they must not like the game. So why is Sony catering to these PC gamers that don't like the games in order to shell out the $300, $400 for these games? Well, for that, I want to give you a scenario, right? Let's say you're going out to eat. You're going to a steakhouse, right? And you sit down at your table. You're with your date. You're with your kids. You're with whatever, right? Whatever. Or whoever, not whatever. And you look down at the menu and you say, I want to get a T-bone steak, right? You look at the price and it's like a T-bone steak is $80. Now, depending on where you're from, right? That can be expensive, that can be cheap. To me, I think it's expensive, right? $80 for a steak, I think it's expensive. But you see it and you're like, I'll pass, right? Too much for me. So you decide to go and get like a baked chicken dish or something that's a little bit cheaper. Does that mean that the T-bone steak dish is nasty? Does that mean that you did not want the T-bone steak dish? No. That just means that it wasn't worth the price for you. That means that you didn't feel inclined to spend $80 just to partake in that dish, just to consume that dish. It wasn't worth it to you. Now, if somebody were to buy that dish for you, you would gladly eat it because you probably wanted it really badly. Or if the dish was significantly cheaper, you would probably get it because you really did want it, but you just didn't want to pay that much money for it. Now, put that in perspective of this. It's like these PC gamers out there aren't saying, some of them are, but I feel like a lot of them wouldn't, because why would you? These games are great. But that's subjective. Anyway, some of these PC gamers, right, aren't saying things like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, Uncharted, Spider-Man. All those games are trash. They're not saying that. They're just saying that I don't want to spend the money to get a PlayStation if I don't already own one in order to play these games, when that $300, $400 can go to making my PC great or greater. You get what I'm saying? That's just my take on it, especially since most of the PlayStation games that come out don't even have longevity to them. You can beat most of them in like a week, right? Spider-Man, you can probably beat them in less than a week, to be honest. But Spider-Man, God of War, I was going to say Last of Us, Uncharted, but they have multiplayer components to them. But Bloodborne, if you're a beast, right, you can probably beat that in a week. But regardless, right, most of the games that Sony comes out with are single-player games, so there's no longevity to them. So buying a console just to play one-and-done games, some people don't feel the need to do that. And that's why this makes sense for Sony to release its games on PC. But that's just my take on it, right? But what do I think about this, right? How do I feel about this whole situation? Do I care that Sony is putting their games on PC? Would I rather them keep them exclusive? To be honest, I don't. I really don't care. It doesn't matter to me because currently I don't own a PC. So them putting their games on PC doesn't affect me whatsoever. I only own a PlayStation, so I get all the exclusives that they have on PlayStation, right? Because that's where they're all at currently. There's none on PC currently. They're exclusives. So I don't mind this because it doesn't involve me. But to certain people, it's a bigger issue for them because of how they feel about Sony's brand in general. I mean, that's them. I can't change how you feel about it. It's just, to me, it's not that big of an issue. Could it become a big issue, and could this ultimately make Sony lose a lot of money? It could, but the chances of that happening, if they follow the same step that they're doing with Horizon Zero Dawn, are very slim. I don't anticipate Sony losing a lot of money off of this, but we can only wait and find out in the long run. But anyway, that's all I want to say about this. Let me know how you think about this in the comment section below. But remember, you already